Peace, everyone. It's BlackHighPriestess. Hope you all can hear me. Let's just dive right in. I have been wanting to talk about this for quite a while, and I really got the inspiration to address this topic last night when I was working with a coworker that I got to know her a little bit better. We were working together, and she's someone that I got to know a little bit better because we worked together last night. And um, I've been listening to Shira Seven, not just my first time. It's I've known about her, but recently I've been kind of listening to the videos, studying her rhetoric, what she's saying, remembering my self-worth. But I was really inspired to talk about the sprinkle sprinkle movement. And again, if you guys have any questions, because my coworker, a white woman, about my same age, let's say late 30s, um, maybe give or take, you never know. Um, she is always she's always just very down to earth, but generally in a good mood, being herself, um, just kind of having a good time, respectful and professional, but always being herself, having a good time and in a good mood. Um, and so when I was able to work with her and talk to her, I got about, stuff with her husband and like going to sleep or, you know, uh, something about her husband waking her up in the middle of the night or vice versa. But just couple stuff that shows that they have a very down to earth, realistic marriage. And what I mean by that, again, I'm from Chicago. I'm from the Midwest. I grew up in the suburbs. Like a lot of white people. So, um, does she have white privilege? Yes, so to speak. Um, but why I was really inspired is because the main point is I pay my bills, pay my own bills. No one's helping me right now. Do I have men who could help me, who would help me, who will help me, who do help me? Yes. I frankly, I am not the type of woman to really settle or to really put up with certain things long term. I'm not the type of woman who wants to, you know, deal with what the men around me and who are presenting themselves, they're not what I want. And while some of them have been exactly what I want, they were not loyal, they were not committed, they were not faithful, they did not have a clean slate. I've been in a relationship with someone who loves me probably more than anyone will ever love me as a genuine friend, genuine, evenly yoked, genuine compatibility. But they did not have these circumstances, the ability to be independent of their parents. So the relationship could not proceed because they were tied literally to their parents, socially, economically, health wise, in a lot of ways. I'm not living with someone's parents, especially no ugly, jealous mother, I'm speaking for me, but I'm also speaking for the reality of women who we work because we don't want to put up with being cheated on. We don't want to put up with being the side chick or try to, get some money out of somebody when we have these skills, the ability, the ambition to make a difference to work and we have goals. What we don't have, and something that I have in common with a lot of women who work, and this is, I know a lot of white women who understand poverty more than black women I know, who grew up in a home, had cars, had a father in the home, married to the mother, being there, taking care of the mother, loving the mother. Never saw that. Never even saw my parents kiss. Um, Black women, I know, you know, come from money, come from stability, come from a community where the Black men were raised to marry Black, and a lot of these church people, they end up just cheating after they get married anyway, but at the end of the day, these women had access to stability, to Black men who were essentially raised to marry. Black men aren't raised right, but they're raised to marry. Some are. um and I know a lot of white women who can genuinely relate to me. They can genuinely relate to being beautiful and poor, coming from poverty. I don't want to say poor because I'm very wealthy in a lot of spiritual ways, and physical ways. My health is my wealth. My beauty is extraordinary. But when you come from poverty, when you come from slavery, when you come from Cabrini Green and Robert Taylor homes, you don't really relate to uh, a lot of Black people who don't genuinely come from the ghetto. Um, And when you're raised in the suburbs, you also don't relate to a lot of Black people who genuinely come from the ghetto. My conundrum is as unique as my name, my birthright. So I try to speak for women who maybe can really, really understand the different layers of difficulty in finding a mate. But I was inspired by my coworker because the main point is we work together. White woman, married, has kids, is happily married, happy with who she is. Black woman, single, child free, working, happy with who I am. Definitely not happy with my life. Definitely not happy with what life has given me. But I would never want to be anyone else because being me is phenomenal. And I only ever see my reality in movies and characters. I can't relate to humans a lot of times. Um, my life is extraordinary, and it is as extraordinary, that's how painful it is. And when I see women want to be like me, it genuinely upsets me because it lets me know they don't really respect this beauty. They have no idea how painful it is to be this beautiful. They have no idea what it's like to be treated a certain way. They have no idea how much of a burden it is to be me. And no one can relate. And when when you face reality, again, not in the South where all the dark-skinned men actively choose a light-skinned woman to marry and take care of, and they'll cheat or whatever, but they put up a light-skinned woman and that's their whole goal in life. She is a light-skinned woman, you get a dark-skinned man to take, and that's the South. It's not the Midwest. It's not the Midwest. And that's what I want to address in this upload is the sprinkle sprinkle movement versus reality. And I don't want to say versus because I need to address the fact that we all do not experience the world the same way. And sprinkle sprinkle movement is going to work for a very limited demographic of women who have white and particularly light skin privilege, because genuinely white women who come from genuine European wealth and standards and stuff, they are held to a different standard than a light skinned woman in the South, who can get away with that shit versus, as opposed to, someone in the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? Where you can find a black revolutionary, and you can find more intellectuals here who are not caught up in how light your skin is and how dumb you are as a woman. Everyone does not experience the world the same way. And that's why I urge black women to travel, because sprinkle sprinkle movement is almost something that it's required if you're going to find an eligible man. It's required to play games, lie, act, cheat, manipulate. And that's what she's teaching. She's teaching you to be a man at his game. So she's teaching you how to be a player. When you want to unplug from the matrix, when you are ready to say, I'm not playing this game and I'm not a part of this and I'm not going to vote and get involved in elections and get involved in all these games, I'm going to go somewhere where I feel I can be free, or I'm going to focus on my own life. And I think Sprinkle Sprinkle movement has enchanted and a lot of women into wanting something that's not going to bring them happiness, because they are not a lazy heifer who does not want to work. And they are not a light-skinned woman who comes from a place where, because of her skin color, she is looked at a certain way and she can go through life manipulating black men. If you are a dark-skinned woman that sprinkle stuff, you must go to white men. If you're a light-skinned, overweight woman in the South, then yeah, sprinkle these dark-skinned black men who are color struck, But you take Shira 7 out of the antebellum South, and she's going to be met with men with much higher standards for how a woman looks. Much higher standards for the skill set that a woman brings into a marriage, including budgeting, much higher standards for a woman's background. Shira 7's teachings are relative to royalty. She is teaching a woman how to think and perceive herself as if she was born into royalty as a princess and has no other duty but to breed with another royal. That's what Shira 7's teaching. And when you deal with these light-skinned Creoles in the South who be mostly French, that's their lineage, that's what they come from. And they don't like dark-skinned women. I'm not saying that light-skinned women don't like dark-skinned women. I'm not saying Shira 7 doesn't. When you get into the South and you deal with this Creole cult, the Creole cult puts light-skinned black women with dark-skinned black men, eliminates black femininity, and comes from the French lineage. So when you're dealing with royalty, European royalty, yes, some African royalty as well, but we're not talking about tribes. We're talking about the monarchy. When you're dealing with elements of the monarchy and European royalty and elites, aristocrats, and sovereigns, meaning, emperors in Asia and empresses and sheiks, and when you're dealing with sovereigns of particular cultures, even getting into the religion a little bit, but we'll talk about that. The female princess, the females born into royals, have the responsibility of remaining pure and being in an arranged marriage where she is married to whatever prince is going to keep the alliance the strongest among nations. It is not for love. The princess that all you women want to be, it's not a Disney story being a princess. It's being responsible for a nation through your marriage. You're required to be a virgin. You're required to produce an heir to that throne. Yes, a male. And you're required to submit to your husband and adopt his culture. That's why interracial dating was never normal unless it was among royals, because it was a way to keep an alliance between two nations in the event of warfare or something like famine or, what have you. And so it's just clear that a lot of women have no ability to even think like a royal. You don't even think about your city or your community the way a queen would. You don't. You don't think even govern your households like a queen. And so Shira 7 is teaching what less than 1% of women on this planet experience, which is being born into royalty. She's teaching you how to think like a princess. Now, you take thinking like a princess who is going to be arranged in a marriage to another man equally as rich and wealthy, another prince. Now, you take that mentality and you put it in the Midwest, put it in Chicago, put it in Texas, put it in Hong Kong. Take the mentality of something that less than 1% of humans and women experience, and now put it in the real world where men are making two figures at best. Or what you say, six figure men. What? Let's be honest. What does the average black man in Chicago make a year? I'm gonna say 50,000 legally. Do you get my drift? Maybe 75,000 if he's killing himself working overtime. So you take black men who make six figures, they don't like black women. They're with real white women, not light-skinned black women. They're with actual white women who are probably poor, but they're white. Or they're with white women who are rich and white. So black women mostly don't have access to rich black men in America in reality. Um, so if the black woman wants to play the sprinkle sprinkle game, you must do it with white men. Will sprinkling and manipulating black men work? Yeah, if they are color struck in the South. And if you are really using witchcraft, which is never really worth it on a black man. Um, Disclaimer, I want to thank Shira 7 for empowering women who were not taught these things by our mothers, or who were not taught these things, or women who just simply inherently had no femininity, but Shira 7 is revealing some mysteries of witchcraft that some women have been using silently and effectively, because other women, because you can get over on other women by inherently having the sacred feminine gift, which also in itself is rare. um a lot of women um can get empowerment from Shira 7 because they didn't have any femininity to begin with, and now like they have the enlightenment to see themselves as a prize. But in reality, you are never a prize just because you were born female, unless you were born as a sovereign. You don't work, you don't eat. Peace, Tyrone. So the reality of you as a woman really having no worth to a man. This is this is the thing with when you get enchanted by the thought process of a princess, when you get enchanted by this woman who's presenting this lifestyle and these ideas, and is teaching you how to be a gold digger. And let me make a footnote. Shira 7 is not teaching prostitution for you ultra religious, marginalized females. She's not teaching prostitution. Prostitution, again, deals with the sacred Vestal virgins. It originates with sacred femininity. Women who sex with that woman, her beauty, her sex, her feminine energy, her gifted power, allowed her to open portals into the spirit realm through sex with her, where royals, sovereigns, or rich men could afford to pay her and were required to make an offering to her for the sexual experience, which was for spiritual purposes, not procreation. Procreation is for a wife married to a man. Very different than being a Vestal virgin, which is for temple priestesses. Now they call it prostitution. Prostitution one is work. Shira seven is teaching gold digging, which is a lazy woman making a man do all her work for her and do everything in life for her. So she does nothing and brings nothing to the table. A prostitute is bringing immense spiritual energy to the table that is worth that is priceless, but is it's worth paying for. It's worth money. It's worth an offering. A princess is bringing the power of a nation, the allegiance of a nation, an army, our agriculture, and resources to a prince of another nation. That's what she brings to the table. Shira Seven brings nothing to the table except an entitled attitude and a mouth to feed and an open hand, gimme, gimme, gimme. She's a black hole, not in the good way. Um, Prostitution is sacred. And even in this day, now that it's been degraded, Shira 7 is not teaching prostitution. She's not teaching a woman to give sexual services and to give satisfaction in exchange for money or for offerings or for protection and provision. She's teaching you to take a man's money and give him nothing, bring nothing to him. Okay? Prostitution is an equal exchange. She's not teaching equal exchange. She's teaching you to gold dig. And women who are enchanted by this gold digging lifestyle and the possibility of it working for them and the possibility of finding a man who values you so much just because you're a female or just because so enchanted by you that he's gonna drop what he's doing and give you all his money, let you dictate his whole life and his whole bank account, and or give you a stipend of his money because you are such a special woman. Women who are starting to believe in the enchantment around the idea that you're so valuable as a woman and that a man's just gonna fall so much and that there are men out here who are gonna fall in love with you, they're going to um they're going to have a harsh awakening when they realize that real men require real women and that men do not like women like me. Men do not like a woman who has princess energy. They don't like a woman who thinks like a queen. They don't like a woman who has extreme beauty and men don't like mysticism. They don't like that. Men like average women. Men like what they feel is accessible and easy to them. Men are not wealthy. Can you find a man who makes enough money to take care of you? I don't think so. I don't think so in this economy. I really don't. Um a man, can you find a man who is willing to do it? I don't think so. I think some women have. I think some women do. Back to my coworker. Um, can you, you know, I don't want to discourage women. I want to encourage women like Shira Seven does, but I think women who have never had any form of femininity and are now being enchanted by what they think they can do with their feminine wiles and being a vixen. I ladies, don't think that you can go out here throwing around nothing to offer, and men are not going to dog you and straight up like if not just laugh at you, just really actually think that you're mental up here, and no matter how good you look, they're gonna think something's wrong with you. They really are. If they are not black men in the antebellum South who are color struck by a woman's light skinnedness, this shit ain't finna work. Unless you are a blood-born witch and can naturally enchant a man. And let me tell you something, I do this all the time. Last night this guy was sitting there and he literally said, I'm enchanted. Another guy offered me like a traveling modeling job as a mermaid or whatever because he liked my blue lipstick. Enchanting a man is what a witch does. No spells needed. Does not mean he's finna be your husband, does not mean he's finna be loyal. Enchanting a man does not mean he has anything to offer. Yeah, it's a power, yeah, you can use it, but it's really something that you use when you need. It's not something that you need to get married and be happy. My coworker, no beauty queen. And she comes to work dressed down, dressed like a tomboy, got tats and what have you. Why do men like that? Because they don't have to worry about anybody hollering at her. And do will men flirt with her? Yeah, in our line of work as bartenders, people are gonna flirt. Doesn't mean they would holler at you on the street. Doesn't mean that if they saw you on the street that they would go out of the way. When you are a service industry worker, your people are in your face, and that's how marriage really happens. You're in somebody's face, you're in proximity, you were right there at the right time, and it was easy. Men do not go out of their way to find women. Men do not go above and beyond to find women. They marry the first woman that is good enough, that is in their face, in their community, at their job. And once they get that settled, once they get that woman as a wife, then he now has the confidence, knowing he's got a wife at home who ain't going nowhere, and share a seven hopes. Or I don't want to say this. I want to say this. A lot of a, a lot of men hope, they intentionally go for the less attractive women, because once they get you as a wife and you're not going anywhere, and he has the social status of having a wife, and he has the security of knowing he can come home to some pussy that he can impregnate and get fat and bitter and ugly and hormonal, then he will go out and pursue the women he likes. Because if I say no, he's got his wife at home cooking up the kids, cooking up babies, ruining her body and her self-esteem or whatever. And this is what a lot of women who never have femininity, you're going to get enchanted by these things. And if you didn't have enough femininity before watching Series 7, you're going to get hit with a harsh reality about men. If you cannot naturally enchant men and you go out and try and do this shit, you're going to get hit with a harsh reality. Shira 7 is over. If when I've asked some people what they feel about it, masculines, um, they say the same thing that she's also mentioned, saying she's overweight, she's too big, or she doesn't look the best, or she looks a certain way, or she's not young enough for me. I don't if you're not a model who goes and auditions or goes, if you are not have not been living in your femininity, you're not gonna you don't have the experience of being rejected and being accepted too. And men, like, ladies, you have to be strong to do this, because when you put yourself out to be a woman who's bought and paid for as an object, you got you yeah, you got to compete with women who are used to being objectified. And Shira 7 has the look that, she can pull average or less than average black men in the South. She's when a man of higher class, higher status requires a model woman, like an ideal representation of a woman, um sprinkle's not gonna work. You will have to bring real beauty. That's not wigs and makeup. You will have to bring real health, real skinniness, real less than 100 pounds or no more than 100 pounds. 120 at the most. I'm even cringing saying this because I'm like, I know what it's like, and I'm terrified. Like, I be looking at sizes and stuff, and I'm terrified of what I could be saying, because a lot of women I know way more than a lot of men that I know. And this is real. And that's it. Therein lies the what I'm getting to. When you are dealing with the type of men that Shira 7 is telling you to deal with, she's telling you don't go for looks. Do I agree with that? If you want to be a gold digger, absolutely. Um, but I agree with it more so if you want to be a gold digger who wants to be married and put up for life. Because men with looks will cheat. They have learned that they can manipulate women. They've learned they can get away with women. Or if they aren't cheaters and players, they're dumb. They're too dumb to know how to know the worth and the value of their attractiveness. And they will be with a woman who makes him look bad. And a lot of men who look good, a lot of them are very insecure, and they're with women who really reflect how he really feels about himself. They're with ugly, fat women. They're with average moose face looking women. They're with unruly, undesirable women. A lot of men, a lot of black men who could model, who are ideal, who are tall, dark, and handsome, or some tall, light, and handsome, who really, really are high value in the realm of sexuality, which I'll get there. A lot of these men, they are too insecure and too literally dumb. They're too retarded. I don't want to say dumb like you can't talk. I mean, and a lot of them are dumb. Like they can't communicate. They don't have original thoughts. They don't really think about anything. And they can either be easily manipulated by women, which is not masculine at all. Or they're insecure and they go for average women, and um they think it makes them a good person to hang around ugly boring women. They're taught that they're taught it's their duty. They come from households where they're enslaved to women. A lot of black men come from households where he's taught to be a woman's personal slave. And it you want a man of honor. You want a man who's brave. You don't want a nice guy. You don't want a nice guy as a husband. A nice guy is somebody that any woman can come and flirt with and manipulate, and he's too nice to say no, so she's sucking his dick in the closet at work or whatever because he's too nice to say no, and he's too nice to reject, and any woman can tell him what to do. That's a nice guy. And a lot of these good-looking guys, they're nice guys and they're worthless. They're worthless. You need a man who can set boundaries, who can say no. A lot of good looking men, a lot of tall, dark, and handsome men are very insecure. And they don't go for their equal. They go for average or less than average women. And that's their safe space. They're afraid to get out in this world and be objectified. You got men with confidence, men who are players, men who are pretty boys, men who are ladies' men. These are confident men. And there are a lot of confident men who are short, which is very unfortunate. But the a short, confident man is more valuable, even in the bedroom, than a tall, big, dumb, gentle giant who anyone can have their way with, because he's so afraid of wielding his weight and his power as a man. He just a big dumb log. So um in the real world, um what and I can attest to this. I know and have seen long term uh prostitution and stripping and gold digging. And this is what it looks like in the real world, ladies. And why Share Sevens tell you not to go for looks, because in the real world, men who have looks, they don't take time to become rich. You may find a good looking man who's already rich, and if he's not moral and already married, then every woman's going to want him, and he's no good, because now you're going to have to sift through all the women that want him, and he's going to expect you to do all the work in pursuing him, and he's not going to take the time to pursue the beautiful woman who's his equal. He's going to take whatever ratchet hoes come after him, and he's not going to do the work to pursue. um Men who earn a lot are men who found out early on in their life that they couldn't pull a woman because of their looks. So they pursued a career that would give them the power that being a good looking man gives you over women. They pursued that money. And what Share 7 is telling you, that if you're a gold digger, you have to go for men who have earned money with the intention of buying a woman, because they knew they couldn't get one with looks. And that is the reality. um I was in this I was shopping in the store with someone who understands the sprinkle lifestyle very well. And when we went in the store, the first thing she did was she went directly up to an elderly brother who was obviously older, um late 50s at best, or maybe was just so overweight and handicapped that it might have aged them a little bit, but we're talking about 60. All right. She went right up to the guy who was in a wheelchair, obviously 60, obviously disabled, and started talking to him, asking him questions. And then when he chose not to respond, he was obviously in a wheelchair, so he couldn't just walk away to show that he wasn't interested in her soliciting herself to him. When he became unresponsive, she started yelling and hollering at him like, hey, can you hear me, very aggressively. um and so that could be the attitude of a woman who's a gold digger, who's used to going after men with money. Why did she go directly up to the disabled 60-year-old man? Because in her lifestyle, she understands, okay, men who are on disability, men who are war vets, men who are older and retired, those are the type of men who will buy a woman for sex. So she knew exactly what her target was. She knew exactly who to target. And you know what? This 60-year-old guy who could barely breathe and was on like a ventilator in a wheelchair didn't want nothing to do with this person I'm very close to. So I a lot of you women, you don't know what this life is about. It's not in your family. Your friends don't know nothing about it. You don't know nothing about it. You ain't had to do it. You don't know what it's about. You don't know what gold digging is about. A lot of you women, you know what going to work, paying your own bills, and being able to tell a cheater no is about. You know what being able to go home and finding your husband cheating and saying, you know what, I'm going to be able to afford a lawyer, whether I have to ask for help from family, friends, or work my own because I have my own, so I can leave an abusive, cheating is abuse, an abusive marriage, an abusive husband. Cheating is abuse. I can leave an abusive husband, an emotionally abusive husband, because I got my own money. That's what y'all women know. And it's okay to be a woman who can go to work and make decisions with how she wants to be loved. Shira 7 is not teaching you how to find a man to love you for who you are. She's teaching you how to change who you are in order to get a man who's most likely going to be old, decrepit, disabled, definitely unattractive, without a doubt. And that's what she's telling you. And he's going to need to be desperate to buy a woman for sex, or he's gonna need to see women as objects so much that he gets off from purchasing you. And Shira 7 is not teaching you prostitution. She's teaching you gold digging. So you ladies, you get out here and you do this gold digging stuff and you expect a man to pay for this and that, and he pays for this and this and that, and then you don't know how to keep up your end of the bargain. You don't know how to get on your knees for a perfect stranger. You don't know how to spread your legs for a perfect stranger after he's dropped all this money on you and giving you this, that. Y'all be careful out here. Men are not dumb niggas in the antebellum South. Like, men are all these men who y'all want to play these gold digging games with are not disabled 60-year-old men on a ventilator. Y'all don't put yourself in danger playing with some crazy men out here who do like to buy women, and they eat women. They torture women. They like to get you in their home and get you doing this and that, and they'll do stuff to you. And some of them, if they're rich, you won't be found. They have connections. Don't play with yourselves out here. Rich men can make you disappear better than some goofy man who want to touch you, and you can call a cop and get him arrested on the street. You want to play around with some money, men with money, and whatever fetishes they may have, and what they're used to buying, and they buy women and they buy men and they buy all type of stuff, and it'll be on the black market and the dark web, and your ass will be lost in the ether, having your parents trying to find you. So don't get enchanted by something that the average woman does not experience. The Bible teaches you how to live as a woman if you don't have a husband. Yeah, having a husband's great. Having a husband the Bible teaches that it's better to marry than to live in lust. And this is what I want to address. Sprinkle Sprinkle movement is not for women who want a relationship that complements her sexuality. Shira 7 believes that women don't think about sex as much as men do. That's how she thinks. She believes women don't think about sex as much as men do. So she's not living in a reality, and she's not living in other women's reality. She worships gold digging. She worships money. Shira 7 wakes up and gets off by thinking about money. But most women wake up and want sex, desire fulfilling sexual intimacy or real orgasmic pleasure. As a woman, if you want your sexuality to be expressed in your relationship, you're not going to want to be bought and paid for by any man who can afford you. You're gonna want the man that you desire, the man you have a crush on, or a man who can at least make you desire him the way you may have a crush on your favorite musician or movie star. and you deserve that. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with entering a relationship based on your sexual desires and based on wanting to be sexually fulfilled. Shira 7 is teaching you to be a gold digger. So again, if you're a sexual woman, a lot of us sexual women, we are not going to enter with the idea of, okay, I'm ready to pop out a few babies and ruin my beauty, ruin my femininity because I was bought and paid for. We want to be loved and dick down properly to where we consider having a baby for this man, where he's impressing us enough where we consider having a baby. Sheer 7 is impressed by money. That's what impresses her, and she's impressed by men who like her. And at the and again, she's still by wide consistence average. She's still average. When you know what it's like to be really to be wanted for who you are, and you don't have to have light skin or weave or makeup on, and you know what it's like to be highly desired, the reality of it is you can be highly desired and never asked to be someone's wife. You can be highly desired and never asked on a date. Peace, Aziza. Aziza. You laughing, but I'm telling you what masculine, what people, what friends have said. Like the masculine consensus is that she's average at best. Um, and this and again, women of sexuality, and again, and that's sacred women, women whose sexuality has value. Now, can you imagine having sex with someone like Shira 7 who brings nothing to the table? Doesn't that sound like some necrophilia shit? Like, as a man, even as a woman, I'm like, whoa, you just gonna lay there, huh? Like a dead body. You bring nothing. You're dating death. Literally, you're dating death. And you're and like what can a man imagine? A woman who's got wig and weave and makeup, you don't know what she looks like, what you know what I'm saying, and then she brings nothing to the table. So and she thinks she it's like she has no sexuality. She only cares about a man's money. She don't care about what he looked like. She don't care if he's cheating. She don't care about being loved. So remember, Shira 7 is she's speaking to you said a warm dead body, a cold hearted body, because there's the thing. Shira 7 is she's speaking to women who, like her, I believe, have been at their best for men, either through a relationship, through dating, or just in life, and have gotten nothing out of it, and now have to play the villain and be the villain to get the bare minimum of what we deserve. She's teaching women heartlessness. She's teaching you the heartlessness that's required to get what you deserve as a woman. She's not speaking to women like my coworker who can be average and tatted up and whatever and be happily married and have a daughter cooking for her at home and enjoy her marriage and come from and me. We were talking about stuff. All the women in her lineage, they played the flute. We talked about like she's a very talented, intellectual woman, and I really enjoyed working with her. My coworker. I don't want to give away people's information, but I'm talking about the inspiration for this upload that I mentioned in the beginning was working with this when I say average white, I'm talking about average in that she's not a beauty queen, she's not a rich woman. We're working together. I am single child free. She's got a family. We're still equal in that we're still working at the same job, making the same money, just at that job alone. You don't know what other job she has, but we're service industry workers. And this woman's happy as a fucking clam. And if you women have access to happiness and a man who loves you for who you are, for how you look, nothing major, and you're enjoying your life and you got a 13-year-old daughter cooking food at home that you enjoy eating, and you're working at a shift and you can enjoy your shift and be happy and give good energy to your customers, just like the single sexy black model who's single and child free and can come to work and give good energy to your customers because we're just happy with who we are as women and we're not changing who we are as women to get a man. My coworker is happy as a fucking clam, and I see this all the time. And if you women don't realize that she's working, and she's happily married, and she's going to work, and she has her own money, and she's got a husband that loves her, and she's got children that are in a right path that she loves, that are talented and amazing. And that's common. That's common everywhere. Everywhere you go, you can talk to women who are average, who average. Some of these women are ugly. And they are happily married. They have children that they are proud of, who are going to be assets to society, who are going to go out in this girl children. They have female daughters who are going to go out into this world and play the flute and be chefs and have ambition. And they already want to be lawyers and doctors. Shira 7 brings nothing to the table. And she's teaching her daughters to bring nothing to the table, like a princess. So if her daughters are going to push Meghan Markle aside and marry Prince Harry, like Shira 7's teaching you to do, Rihanna couldn't do it. Rihanna fucked Prince Harry too, didn't she? And that rich Arab dude, and she ended up with this nigga. She ended up with this fresh nigga, Rihanna. The light-skinned beauty that all black men desire because they're color struck. Rihanna couldn't make this Shira 7 shit. Y'all, I need y'all to listen to me now. Sprinkle reality. Rihanna, who can go anywhere and get a nigga to fuck her. She don't need to be an antebellum South like overweight Shira 7 does. Rihanna could not make this gold digging shit work for her. She been with Prince Harry. She been with that other Arab dude who was rich, who she really liked. Y'all know I know shit about celebrities, did y'all? I know what y'all like and who y'all lust after and who y'all worship, and I do research because their music could be trash. Don't worry, I like some of Beyonce and Rihanna songs. I like Destiny's Child songs and pre-Jay-Z, Beyonce, and whatever. But and I like some of Rihanna songs. And she makes pop culture music. But Rihanna couldn't make this golden shit work. She ended up with A$AP Rocky, pregnant and acting happy about it. Eventually she may be really. And why is Rihanna happy now? Because now she realizes that she couldn't get these white rich men. Because if Rihanna was dark skinned, it might have worked. You know what I'm saying? Or if Rihanna would, you know what I'm saying? But they like light skin works for dark skinned black men. But they want really white or really black everywhere else. This mixed mulatto bullshit is not attractive anywhere else except antebellum slave America. Everyone else wants some really white or really black. It didn't work for Rihanna, y'all. So good luck. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Rihanna, a sex vixen, you know what I'm saying? So I don't, y'all are gonna be in for a rude awakening. And some of y'all, and this is what I want women who may see this, I want women who listen to Shira 7 and after 1, 2, 3 years, I want to put it like this. I want women who listen to Shira 7 and in 36 months got a rich man to marry them where they are on the prenup, or they're, you know what I'm saying, where in the event of divorce or death, she gets that man's money. I want any woman who can say that they started listening and applying Shira Seven's teachings, that it worked in 36 months, and you're now married to a rich man who has given you all of his money through marriage. I need you all to get on here and comment, because I want to let the women know, until we find these spook women out here who made this shit work for them. I want you to know what's working for other women. Being themselves, having nose rings, having tats, being from the Midwest, being white trash, you know, and acting masculine sometimes and acting tomboyish, and I want to. That's working. Being average is working. Being regular is working. Marrying for love is working for some people. Saying, hey, I love this guy, he treats me great. I'm already working. I'm going to continue working. I've raised kids. Maybe at one point I was not working for that, but now as a mother, as a grown woman, when I say grown mother, meaning your kids are old enough where you don't have to breastfeed all day, so to speak. And let me tell you something. This is my thing. Because I work, I can let y'all know reality. Don't get caught up in everything you see on the internet. You don't know what the hell is going on in Shira Seven's household or her community, or if she's bored out of her mind that she's now talking to strangers, or maybe she has to work for some reason, and her job is now to manipulate you all into thinking her lifestyle is as glamorous as she's presenting, because maybe she needs some extra money, like a lot of people who are on YouTube working. It's work. And is it fun to chit chat and talk to people if you're a woman doing nothing all day? Yeah, because sitting around, because bringing nothing to the table gets boring as fuck. But you know what? Other women have skills and things. That's how they meet their husband. Their husband admires them because they're working in the industry. People work at zoos and fall in love because they both have a love for animals, and they're happy as fucking clams. Married. Not getting cheated on, not getting disrespected, not getting beat on, not getting emotionally abused, not having to keep a Rolodex of strangers in your repertoire, because you always have to have a backup plan, because at any moment the man who bought and paid for you could discard you like the object that you are, and now you need to bounce around. Because men will constantly discard you as quickly as they buy you. They will put you on the shelf. And that's what Shira 7 is letting you know and warning you. Move on to the next one. You should already have this and already have a bunch of guys. She's letting you know. You need to have at least 15 men. Or, I'm sorry, I'm letting you know, as someone who knows how this shit goes. You just got 5. They gonna them 5 dudes gonna be, once they bounce around and they all go back to their baby mamas or their wives, or the average ugly women who are presentable to bring back to their mom, or once their money dries up, or once you just get sick of them because they're really not eligible, they're just people you use for money, and you don't really like them, you don't enjoy their company, you don't respect them because they're not as intelligent as you, they're not as educated as you, they're not as savvy as you all don't enjoy doing the same things together, other than maybe drinking, smoking, watching some bullshit movies or whatever, or talking about rap or hip hop or music. You know what I'm saying? So it's essentially have nothing in common. A lot of women don't want to deal with that, just to a lot of us, our time to ourselves is more valuable than being paid to be around people that we don't enjoy being around. We are valuable where being around ourselves is okay, and we can go to work and pay our own bills because we want to be loved for who we are. But Shira 7 is teaching that if you don't want to work and you can't pay your own bills because you're too lazy to work your way in life, this is how you find a man to do everything for you. So you will have to be like women I know who live this life. You will have to know your target. You will You will become that woman who does not go for a tall, dark, and handsome guy, and does not smile and does not hope that he's single with no kids, or hope that he's not gay, or, you don't take those type of chances, because, us women who take chances on the tall, dark, and handsome guy who's sexually desirable, we don't know our worth. We're not worth an attractive man loving us. We're going to go straight for the ugly, fat, old, disabled dude who probably has some pension money that he'll be willing to give to us because he needs sex. Y'all ready to live that life? No, you're not. Because you would be already. You wouldn't have to listen to Share 7 if you was about that life. You would be living it. You listening to Share 7, again, get your self-esteem up. If you are a woman who has done everything in your power to love and be loved, and you've only been shitted on by men. You've only been raped, disrespected, disregarded, cheated on, beat on, rejected, neglected, told that white women are better than you. Maybe some of you have been told that black women, natural haired women are better than you. Everyone has a different experience. You've only been, told that your hair's not natural enough, or, it's too, you got too much of an, for those of you who had tried to love and who have gone through the hell because you were taught to treat people the way you wanted to be treated, and you were taught to be godly and holy instead of gold digging and lying and manipulating and cheating. Those of us who have gone through hell trying to be loved properly for who we are, she's speaking to us who, if you've gone through life being too nice and never getting anything in return for what you are bringing to the table, now here is your permission to become the villain, bring nothing to the table, or put on this huge act. It's all Erzulie Freda. And I might need to just address the voodoo spirit behind it in a whole nother upload. But now we're actresses, and we're putting on this character, this cold character of, I bring nothing to the table, fuck you, pay me. And now we have to harden ourselves and demand, because now we're making every new potential partner pay for the fact that the other men did not commit loyally and did not protect and provide the way they should have. And I cannot advocate that, because it's not real. When I worked with I worked with several women, but as I'm going through things and seeing things, and I'm meeting, and again, does she have white privilege? Yes. It is a lot. Most black women I know are not happy with the men in their lives. And black women marginalize themselves and will put up with anything from a man just to have one. White women don't have to deal with deep hatred from their own men that black women have to deal with. So white women, growing up around white women, a lot of white women could be happily married, and a lot of them are no beauty queens and know their husbands are not cheating on them. That is white culture. That's why I encourage black women, if you want to get any representation of what it's like to be treated how you deserve to be treated as a female, you must go to white culture. Black men are not raised properly, and they are inferior. They are. And a lot of them are just not educated. And the ones that are educated are dumb. They're not smart. They just have a degree. Black men are not top notch. Unless if you want to get dick down, maybe, yeah. But they're not top notch. And I talked about this in the last upload when I was, talking about things, but a lot of black women are obese because there's no standards in the black community, and they're not held to a beauty standard. And I was lucky enough to be held to a beauty standard and to maintain it. But my father would not allow obesity, and I feel bad for you black women who came from communities and households where you were taught that it's beautiful, that it's okay, or that you were just in a community that accepted it because all the other women were obese. and the men were okay with that, and they still married, and now you all are in a reality where women are genuinely beautiful, or like healthy, or it's just sad that black women have been gaslit into being obese. But it's also it's also why there's the black community needs to keep its own character and not try to be so elevated and be so different, because black people bring diversity to the world. And the black community is where an obese woman could go and feel beautiful. So there needs to be a place where, there needs to be those places. But in the black community, it's not beneficial. It's gaslighting, it's marginalizing, it's unhealthy. And white women don't understand the privilege that they have to be around men, um, who uh, who don't hate them just because they're the same race. Men who men we're not this in America. You're not taught to degrade and dislike white women. You may be taught to make fun of white women. If you are a black or brown person, you may be taught that, oh well, white girl, we can make fun of white girls because they have a flat ass or they can't cook, stereotypes. um but it's not the culture of white people to disrespect their women. It is the culture of black people to disrespect the women. Now there's another huge part of our culture, which is the big mama. The big mama gets respect. That's why it's okay to be a fat black breeding woman in the black community. And that's why y'all get the short end of the stick, because in the black community you only get respect if you a fat black woman with a bunch of fucking kids. If you're beautiful and intelligent, you better go to white people as quick as possible, because black men, they ain't never seen a beautiful woman. They don't know what to do with it, and they will do everything in their power to tear you down. It's dangerous to be this beautiful around black people. Black women will throw acid on your face, they'll cut your face up, and black men will get you pregnant and leave you just to make sure you don't leave the hood, because he hates you. He hates. Black people hate. And I'm not trying to, like, there's so much beauty in the black community. I live in the black community. I grew up around white people, and I, by choice, live in the black community because I love being around my own people. But I don't have to be here. I can go deal with white supremacy and be just as well, and probably be a lot better off mentally, psychologically, in a lot of ways. But there, um, again, I'm not a token black, and I'm not a gold digger. I'm who I am, and I've been living a life true to that. And sprinkle sprinkle, you can't be true to who you are as a woman. You have to put on that character, and you will have to play these men's game, or you will just have to deal with the fact that the men who fall in love with women just because they're women, again, if they're not color struck Annabelle himself, they're going to be men who cannot get women by their looks. And if you want that to be your life, fine. If you want to marry a man, or be with a man, or let a man buy you, and be his object, and you may not have the freedom to do what men do when they marry average women, get these women pregnant and fat, where they can't go pull another sex partner because now they're fat and hormonal and whatever, and married. And then the men go cheat with women who will be willing to take his little bit of money he has left over, after being a father and a husband, or these men, they get you women as wives and stuff, and they get you fat and unhappy and neglected or whatever, and now he's out cheating. But you women who are at home, hormonal, sexually frustrated, overweight, you wanted that house. You wanted to be able to say he was your husband. And that's the number one thing in the black community. You black women, you get with these good looking, tall, dark, handsome men because you wanted to be the one to have control over him, to say that you trap him with babies. A lot of you do. You trap men with babies without the ring, and so you can say so. And then some of you lose out because he never marries you, or he just recognizes the trap and decides to stay single because he recognized you were trying to trap him. That's what's gonna happen to a lot of y'all. These men are gonna recognize you're trying to do some entrapment, and he's gonna go the other direction, and you're gonna be left looking stupid. Don't think for 1 second, don't think for 1 second you below average looking women who put on a little bit of makeup and weave and you go out here and play these games on these dates. Don't think these men will not leave you with that $1,000 bill that you racked up, that $500 bill that you racked up with your friend, thinking you were cute, thinking you were sprinkle sprinkle enchanted. Y'all finna do this. Watch. Y'all finna go. I need y'all to find out the hard way. I actually need some of y'all to go tell your stories of trying to sprinkle on these modern men out here who work for their money, and who some of them don't even make enough money and still have a higher standard of what they'll even be seen in public with, because they know their worth to an extent. Whether they making minimum wage or 6 figures, they have a standard of what they finna be even seen in public with. Y'all finna do this. Y'all finna do this, because I see all type of women commenting on her things. One was like, oh, she something about the hijab. What if you wear a hijab or whatever? And that's how dumb some of you women are. And that you're not really listening to what she's saying to put it all together, and that you have to even ask these questions when her answer is the same for everything. Don't care, be heartless, move on, have another one, have a Rolodex. So when it doesn't work out, or when it stops working out, or when he starts being dusty, or keeps being dusty, or decides to be dusty, or when he dusty, then you could just move on, move on, move on. Yeah, you will have to. But Shira Seven doesn't have to, because she's married, and she's been married, and she has till we see her have to move on, you know what I'm saying? But that's what she's telling you in the dating: move on, move on, move on, till you found your trophy, till you found your eternal John who will marry you and provide and protect and provide. So, um the thing about the hijab is, her answer is the same for everything. It's just like, see how that works. Go where men like hijabs, but realistically, when you want to do the Shira Seven movement, it's again, this is something that's going to work for white women who are already have access to white men with careers that make them wealthy. You say hijab. um but and it's going to work for light-skinned black women in the antebellum South who are around a bunch of color-struck men. It will work for beautiful models who use, as dark-skinned women, are exotic looking features to go around non-black men, or may including the African man, um, who also is very color-struck, and who also has no respect for black women. They all want us to be their maid, but for dark skinned women, it's going to work when you're exotic around the European, or the maybe the Asian, maybe the African, definitely the European, and definitely the Latin culture. So places in Spain or France, or places um where black women, are, like in France, they worship the Black Madonna, and some places in South America, like I forgot the place that one lady was saying she wanted to visit. I don't know if it was Colombia or somewhere where Black culture is very, very prominent. Black women are celebrated. You go somewhere like that, where black women are celebrated, then you will find exact white men, people of other cultures, races, who go to places where they know they can find beautiful black women, not ugly ones like here in America. Y'all look bad. Um, where they can find beautiful black women. Um, but I feel that when I talk about the spiritual topics and the spiritual solutions, I the sprinkle sprinkle movement will work in the concept of witchcraft. Um and it will work again depending on where you are and how you use it, depending on what your look and what type of men like women of your particular look, where they will just throw money at you because of your particular look. Now again, if you're dark skinned, um there will definitely be black men who love dark skinned women, but they don't got money. The men who have money and love dark skinned women are not going to be black. All right. They're not going to be black. Black men get money to buy white women. Ugly men get money to buy women. Black men get money to have access to what they don't have access to. Black men have access to black women. They don't have access to white women. That's why he's getting money. He wants a white woman. He can have black women. And that's the other rude. So let me finish this point. Um, with the hijab, here's the thing. If you want to get these men that Shira Seven's telling you to get, ugly, disabled, old, um, fine. But as a woman who wears a hijab, if you cover your hair as a woman and you're from Middle Eastern culture, you have access to men of wealth more than any white woman in America does. The man, you seen them Habibis or whatever? Them motherfuckers always got Lamborghinis, got the richest cars, and them niggas got gold. They look fly. Woman, you cover your hair and go to Middle East and go around. Those women, those men got money and they know their job is to take care of a woman. Now some of you women, you don't want to cover your head. That's not your culture. You would rather put on a weave. Yeah, put on your weave and go to the antebellum South, where black men like light-skinned weave wearing women, overweight women. But if you're not that, and if you are a natural woman, if you're a real woman, if you have sacred femininity, if you know your worth and you cover your head because of your feminine worth and its spiritual connotations, you're gonna do better than Shira Seven doing. And then a lot them men have money. Girl, I think honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I think I want me a Habibi because the way I've been looking, I'm like, it's not finna work out with no black Negro. They are way too inferior for a woman like me. Um, and the ones that aren't, I genuinely do not see myself having sex with or wanting to even kiss. So it's nothing to the black men who are brave enough to um and a lot of you black men, you don't ask me on a date. You just want me to be in a relationship with you because you say that's what you want. But to those of you brothers who have been brave enough to date me and ask me on a date, it's nothing against y'all. I'm not sexually attracted to you. And um there's also a level of compatibility. If you are not a warlock, it's probably not going to work out. And a lot of you black men, you have no power. You have no ability to relate to me on a marriage level because our God is not tying us together. Our service to our God is not tying us together. Our service to the community is not tying us together. Our spiritual practices are not tying us together. If you are not my spiritual equal, it won't work. Um, and a lot of black men who are spiritual um are broke and unhealthy. Yeah, I think all that vegan and all that, this, that, a lot of these black men are sick. They're mentally unhealthy. They're mentally sick. They can't make it in society. They have social disorders. They don't like to go out and get out. You know, these spiritual black men, they're not, they they want to keep a woman under the rock that they live in. They just want to, they want it. Their misery loves company. That's the problem with a lot of you spiritual brothers. You are misery loves company. And a lot of you have literally retarded ideologies. And educated yourself and were able to actually compete with white masculinity, you would be valuable. But you cannot compete with white masculinity. You cannot compete with superior manhood. You only are relevant in the hood. That is where you will be the most valuable. That's where you only you're not really bringing anything desirable. A lot of you spiritual black men are miserable inside. You're miserable. You're too aware of the world. You're too aware of your blackness. You're too aware of this, that. And no woman in her feminine energy wants to deal with a mentally sick and mentally disturbed man who doesn't understand the importance of just simply having a job, keeping a job, and taking care of himself, let alone a relationship. Um a lot of black men cannot just simply have a fun relationship with a woman. um and a lot of black men um who want that fun, um and who do prefer black women, he's not finding ones that are attractive enough and that also like anime, that also like wrestling, that also like hunting or camping out, that also like all the things that he could easily find a white girl who likes, who wants some black dick. White women will sleep with any ugly, short, bald, fat black guy. White women will sleep, well, I don't see with too many fat brothers. They not Little Kim yet, but white women will sleep with any black dude. Black women, we know what attractive black men look like. White women, they're just struck by his blackness. He could be ugly, and she will deal with that. And a black man who really is looking for compatibility, um, you know, sisters, what I would say for a sister like me, start going in places that are predominantly white and be that black female presence. So the single black men there don't feel that they have to deal with the white women just to have a relationship based on fun. And that's what a lot of black people are missing out on, relationships based on fun, because a lot of black people don't know how to have fun. You guys just like to have kids, just like to sit around and get fat and have kids, and um so that I was going to make another point, but um you know with the hijab and things, like, I think that it's important for women, if you want the Shira 7, if you want Sprinkle Sprinkle to work, I think you need to seriously do your research on where these men are. And I think you need to find out what's the demographic, what's the income demographic, and what place has the most men who, you're going to have to do statistical research to increase your and optimize your chances of being in the right place at the right time, because that is 1000% of this bullshit working. 1000% of marriage, happiness, winning the lottery, which is what Shira 7's teaching you how to do. This is how to win the lottery. Keep it moving, keep buying tickets until you win. That's what Shira 7's telling you women to do. And that's what a lot of you women will end up doing, and that's what a lot of you have done. And you're just hoping that something changes now that Shira 7 has sprinkled some enchantment over the reality of um being seen and unloved, of the reality of not having someone commit to you. Um she I don't know. I feel like you're more likely to win the lottery. I feel like you're more likely to win the lottery. I feel like you're more likely to get a career, likely to land that SAG Screen Actors Guild Award movie. You know, you're more, you know, I don't know how, if this shit didn't work for Rihanna, if it's not working, like Beyonce, you know, look at Beyonce. Do you guys want to be, have you ever seen Beyonce and Jay-Z look happy together? Have you ever even seen Kanye West and Kim Kardashian look happy together? So if you want to do, and didn't Kanye West make the whole gold digging song and let y'all know? Sorry. Didn't Kanye West make the whole song and let y'all know what will, you know? Um, that's why I say, sisters, listen to Kanye West's song. Because Shira Seven said, get your look up. It's the whole thing. She said, get your look up, you know, get your body right, get your nice clothes, pamper yourself, put on for yourself, and yeah, pull one of these dudes who's superficial too, and all of that. And when you get on, he leave your ass for a white girl, for an actual woman who comes from a place where she's already protected, already provided for, and her value is her actual whiteness. She has to do nothing but be white. That's what Shira Seven's trying to say. I bring nothing to the table but being a female. That shit don't that's not gonna work for black women unless you are a drop dead gorgeous black woman who is exotic enough to be sexually desirable, to be a fetish for rich non-black men. Now, not discouraging black women, but out here, you're more likely to find happiness and joy from going on a date where you both have something in common. You're doing an activity that allows you to be intimate through having something in common and enjoying that and creating a shared memory, which is not going to be tied to how much he spent. Will you as a woman remember how impressive he was? Yes. If you are as a woman are impressed by money, great. That's probably going to mean you're poor. Most poor women are impressed by things like there a lot of times I like when I start hanging around black people, and some white people who are just like homely and average and don't really get out much. They're always impressed by like what I do and what I know and how sophisticated I am and how much I know my city and what I know all the nature spots and I know all the like places that have the best food to eat and what you know and they're genuinely impressed and that shit gets annoying because this is my life. I'm awesome all the time every day. And and you know when you're poor, when you're really poor and poor minded, then you're going to be impressed by money. Yeah, Aziz said you you've seen them smiling, but that's not always happy. Well, Shira Seven's teaching you how to act, how to put on the act. But isn't Beyonce tying? She's getting her money saved up because Jay-Z finna get caught in this Diddy shit. Ain't Beyonce preparing for divorce or getting her lawyers involved in her money so she don't? So in the case of so she don't go down with her husband. That's the thing about having your own money. Shira Seven is not what sh to bring nothing to the table is not safe for a woman. It's not safe to be a woman who does not have her own, and it's not smart to be a woman out here who does not have the skills needed to make money. Shira 7 can make money off of YouTube. So don't let her fool you that bringing nothing to the table is the way. She has a second or third or fourth source of income. And like she says, she might have 15 other niggas that she's enchanted with by being color struck that will give her money when and if her husband leaves her through death or another woman or just because he's sick of it. So don't be fooled, ladies. Don't think you can just bring nothing to the table. You better have your several backup plans, which is a skill that people will pay for in the event that when you realize the shit ain't finna work. That you're more likely to find a man who loves you for who you are than a man who's dumb enough to give you who is not the most beautiful woman in the world his money just because you showed up. For that a man with money is gonna fall in love with you. No, like she said, if he's ugly, if he's average, if he's out of his prime because he's too old or he's disabled or whatever happened, or he just is retarded and is not working, he can't keep up with with other intellectual men because he is behind intellectually. He's simple. You know what I'm saying? If you're not ready to deal with these simple men who are going to fall head over heels for an average woman just because she's putting on an act, and she's not going to put out until she gets that marriage, until she gets that guarantee, and now you can have me any which way. So again, she's teaching women who have done everything, gotten nothing out of it. This is how you get what you deserve from a man. And yeah, that will work if you're dealing with an immoral man. If you're dealing with if you're I mean, I don't know how else to say this. Rule of thumb. If you have to ask, the answer is probably no. If a man's not offering you money, and have the discussion, ladies, feel free to do this stuff. But what's going to happen is men who like you for who you are going to change their whole opinion about your character when you do the sprinkle shit instead of bringing your scarf wearing, bartending, I work, maybe you got a kid by somebody self to the table who he already liked enough to ask on a date. Men are not asking women on dates. So ladies, if a man genuinely goes out of his way to come up to you, not these inferior niggers in the hood who will holler out the window, hey ma, come here, won't even get out their car to holler at you. If Let me tell you something, I know this for a fact. If a man will not get out of his car to holler at you, if he sees you on the street walking and he does not pull his car over or you know break the law to come on your side of the street, or if you're somewhere and a man does not get out of his car at the gas station and come up to you and catch you to holler at you and get your number, he's not going to be the type of man to hold the door open for you or to open your car door. He's not going to go above and beyond to impress you, to make you feel protected and provided for at every minute of your time with him. So you have no choice but to want to sleep with him because you feel safe. And it's not going to be a man's money that makes you want to sleep with him. It's going to be how he makes you feel safe. And if a man is going out of any way, whether it's changing the direction he was just about to walk in to come to you where you're at and ask you for your number and ask you on a date, especially in public where anyone else can see, you've already won, lady. You already won. Don't ruin a man showing masculinity by having a unrealistic expectation for a man who you know is not a born prince. He does not have a name. You're not a princess. And that man who asked you on a date is not a prince. But he could have you happy as a fucking clam, like my average tatted up coworker wearing a hat and dressing down and burping and belching all over and happy masculine energy all over the place, but a very smart, intelligent woman who definitely brought a lot to her marriage because she brought a lot to my ship just working with her. I was inspired to do this upload because I enjoyed my time spent with her, working with her, making money with her so much that I had to let you all know you could be yourself and be happy, and you can bring a lot. You can have a lot to offer, and that's what's going to get you married. And that's what's going to get you married to someone evenly yoked. Not being paid for and then, having to force yourself to show up in the bedroom for someone who bought you like an object. That's what Shira Seven's teaching you, how to grow in love. This is some princess shit. If you wanna choose who you get to marry, go to work and make your own money. Or let your rich parents arrange the marriage like rich Jews do. If you're not a rich Jewish girl, if you're not real sovereign out here, if you're not an African, a real African, or a real Jew who has an arranged marriage waiting for you, you better go make your money and fall in love. You could seduce a bunch of average dudes. You could a man does not have to have a lot. Like, you can ask a man for money, and if he likes you enough, he'll give it to you. He'll give what he has. I do agree with doing what she says, but ladies, do it. Do it and see what happens. If you have decided, if you've been through dating broke men and you know what that's like, and you know your worth, and you have decided there's certain things you're not going to do, more power to you. You've upgraded yourself. But ladies, don't turn down someone genuinely interested in you, and someone who may genuinely have morals and may genuinely have been raised to love, to marry, to be loyal, to not cheat. Don't pull this sprinkle shit on a date with somebody who is a genuine, moral, brave, masculine man who went out of his way to ask you on a date because he was showing real interest in you, how you looked that particular day. Don't do it. Don't don't do it. If you've been ran through by a bunch of dusties, you need to be on the sprinkle movement shit. That's who it's for. Or if you are genuinely a heifer, if you are genuinely a gold digger who brings nothing to the table and does not want to work for your money and has no ambition in life other than to sit around and maybe have some kids, so a man can put you up in a nice home and a nice this, and you can have nice things and be bored out of your mind in your nice white home, your nice big home, then yeah, by all means, sprinkle away. But if you're a woman who has a lot to offer, please be yourself, and um understand that you are more likely to you're gonna find a better caliber of man than Shira Seven is telling you to find. You're gonna find men who, some of them may make six figures, not all of them may, or some, but you're gonna find men with morals, and that's what you really want. You want a man with the same morals and the same goals as you for a relationship. And I say it time and time again, when you come from poverty, do not make being rich your goal. Make being happy your goal. There's so many things that you can do to be happy and overcome childhood trauma and overcome whatever happen. Money does not buy happiness. And if you don't come from money, do not make your goal being rich. Make your goal doing better than your parents and overcoming generational curses. You will drive yourself crazy, and you will lose out on the best years of your life scraping and scrapping and killing yourself working, trying to achieve some richness that's never going to happen. You're not going to work your way up in this economy or in America. Poor people don't work their way up to being rich. You meet the right people who give you the right opportunities. You can marry up if you want. But Shira Seven you might as well be, like, this is what immigrant women do. She's If you're a woman out here who got something going for you, you don't need sprinkle sprinkle. Sprinkle sprinkle is for women who being nice has not worked, being good has not worked, being beautiful has not worked, being kind has not worked. Now we have to be the villain to get what we deserve. And it works for, women who need a man's money. If you don't need a man's money, I want you to listen to married women. Figure out how they got married, how they found a man who is making them happy. Figure out what they did. And you're going to find a lot of it is about being in the right community. And a lot of it is going to be about being in certain areas, the suburbs, more rural areas where people have more respect for family than they do for individuality, which is what you're going to find in the city, in major cities, in major metropolitan areas. You dating in these major metropolitan areas, you're going to deal with people who are used to variety and you're expendable. You get further into urban, you get to more in suburban and rural areas and remote areas, you know what I'm saying? People are going to have more value for humans. Humans are not valuable in major cities, but in other areas, being a human is valuable. Community's valuable. You're a human, you're a person, you're valuable. We're going to care about you. Even if you live 10 miles away, we're going to make sure you get some food or make sure nothing happened to your home or whatever. That's morals. So that's stuff you're gonna find in foreign nations. That's stuff you're gonna find in different areas. You're not, you know, you want to deal with moral people who respect women and who respect family and who respect marriage. You're gonna be dealing with Christians. You're gonna be dealing with white people. You're gonna be dealing with people who do not have social media and don't use social media. They're too busy being an asset to this world. They're too busy being full of things to offer others. To be scrolling on social media all day and bragging about who they are and what they know and what they think and what they did. So don't look for love, and don't look for morality, and don't look for a man who is groomed to protect and provide in no major metropolitan city. These are faggots. They hate women. That's what I would say. Go to where men are raised to respect women. You're not going to find that and again, I can't speak for too many cities, not Chicago. You know, it's busy and there's too much going on and there's too much to distract people. You need to find a man who's bored, don't got nothing going on, or is too busy in his life and he's okay with whatever woman he gets, and because he got stuff going on. You get with these men who are in the city, these poor men who have to go to work around these other poor women like me who work. I don't want to say poor, but like, this is your problem, ladies. You wanted to be the one who trapped that tall, dark, and handsome man. And now because you trapped him with the baby, now he has to work an extra job to support the household and you and you wanted that. And now he's cheating with all the pretty girls at work. Or the chick at the gas station. It like Shira 7 is reminding you without addressing the topic that you as a woman have no value. If you bring nothing to the table, you are the last thing valuable to him. You are a dime a dozen. A man with money can buy any woman. So if you bring nothing to the Shira 7 is not going to tell you that reality. If you bring nothing to the table, and you're just a female and you want to gold dig, you better really know what you're doing, and you better make sure the demons that you worship in your witchcraft got your back. And don't send you one of their warlock worshipers who got his own agenda, worshiping a demon and wanting to meet a woman like you who's ready to get paid and is he gonna throw his money at, and now he can have his way with you and worship Satan and have your limbs all over the lake. Y'all, you think men aren't out here doing witchcraft and dealing with demons to try and get what they want out of women? I know y'all do. Y'all, I know y'all are letting this feminist mindset that America has adopted can convince you that you have authority over a man that you don't have. And if you women have the level of beauty to where you can naturally enchant a man, you would learn even quicker that's not going to be enough. That's not enough. You you all want so much power over men. Um and just some of y'all are just simply not okay with being a woman. You're not okay with being the female. Everything has to be contrived. Everything has to be an act. Everything has to be a defense mechanism. And do you really think men out here who are also dating and tired and going broke trying to impress gold digging women, do you think he wants some intimacy? Do you think he wants a woman who is willing to do something like go to a museum and talk about artwork or whatever that he like? Don't you think these men are just as tired too? And don't you think these men are ready to get what they want out of women because they're sick of paying for expensive dates and going home and not getting sex? And going home and still having to work, do more impressing to just get the sex? Or, like men are frustrated too. And a lot of men are out here, they want to see, like, are you going to be as frustrating as the last women men know women are a dime a dozen. You women you don't know, you don't value men. And I'm not saying that, like, men are not a dime a dozen, and unless you're somewhere where they are. um Men prey on women, and sure, seven is teaching you to prey on men, but it's not going to be to your benefit, because you're not going to get what you want. You're going to get some ugly curmudgeon. That's not what you want. You want a tall, dark, and handsome man to love you and respect you. And then, what I'm saying, mm, I average people have a much easier time dating. That's true. But if you're dating for sexuality, um if you get off on manipulating men, then sprinkle sprinkle work for you. But if you get off on having sex with attractive men who are athletic, who are martial artists, who are at least like, who are fit and attractive, if you want a healthy sex life, I would say be yourself and date according to that chemistry, and according to, do you feel comfortable around this person? Do you enjoy their time? Because marriage is, it's mostly time, and it's not safe for a man to marry a gold digger, and it's not safe for a woman to be one. Anything can happen. Again, another woman I work with, great woman, does makeup. Another white woman, great woman, does makeup. She was talking about mowing the lawn, and so I asked her, and I found, and this was last year, and I found out her husband, um no, this was earlier this year, but her husband was injured, and she had to take care of him, and she had to take care of stuff like throwing out the trash and mowing the lawn. This happens to a lot of women. Most married women who are married to these men who work, who are most married women who are married to average men, blue collar workers who do these labor jobs, That's the type of man who's gonna love you, not cheat on you, come home and do and give you all his money and take care of the kids. A blue collar worker. You get into these white collar workers, they will cheat on you. Anything like real estate or something, all these people do is cheat on their spouses in the office. I know you guys watched Mad Men. I know you guys watched Mad Men. So, all I gotta say is, you want to marry a blue collar worker who puts pride in his work. And most women I know, most women, their husband is injured because he worked because he's doing all the man labor in the house and this, that, whatever. And she cooks. She takes care of things. She's going to work, which is how I meet most of these happily married women. And I meet a lot of miserable, mostly black women who are married but they're not happy, or who, are either single and doing better off than the married black women, who are always overweight for some reason. Always overweight and unhappy with your husband, unhappy with the fact that you have a husband, you know. Um and then, I think a lot of single black women, we know better than to deal with than to commit to these black men and let them trap us up, you know. Um but black women do not find happiness. Very rarely does a black woman find happiness with a man. Um but it you know So I wanted to, one last thing I did want to say about it is about the discussion of the pick me woman that Shira Seven talks about. I did want to mention the religious aspect, and what I do like about Shira Seven's teachings is that she teaches women black women have a humongous disadvantage by being raised religiously and raised by religious parents. That puts black women at a huge disadvantage at being loved and being happy, because a lot of black women are adopting a femininity that is not true to themselves. They're trying to be Miss Perfect, they're trying to measure up to the Virgin Mary. And the idea of pick me applies to a lot of religious women, because a lot of religious women want God to pick them. They want to be the Virgin Mary. They want to be chosen by God. And so being chosen by a man to a black woman is like being chosen by God. Same thing with white women who may be hyper religious, but again, white culture is very different. Um, Women are respected in white culture. Black women are degraded and abused in black culture. So when you get religious, and it's like you this is how you escape the bad conditions of the black community. You be this hyper pure black woman who's trying to measure up to this ridiculous standard of virginity and purity. And a lot of black women um look to women like Shira Seven, and a lot of you sisters, um you want to feed off of a powerful woman's who is living in her own energy and has never let society confide her. A lot of you sisters, you you want to draw off of our strength, because you never had the strength to be your own self as a woman. You lived your whole life conforming to what your religion wanted, what your parents wanted, and what was going on in your social circle. And I recommend Shira Seven for black women who have never been sexually fulfilled, never been romantically fulfilled, because they were put at a religious disadvantage and they did not have a mother to teach them femininity and sexuality. They had a mother to teach them it's your job to be pure and it's your job to be Christian. And that's where your value lies. And black women lose out. Black women lose out because the church could care less about the black woman getting married. And the church will not tell the black woman, please go to the white community to find a husband because black men are trash. No matter how good they are, they're trash. And if they're good, they will be with a white woman. You know, so remember, in the last days, 7 women will hold on to one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own mantle. Just let us call us by your name to take away our reproach. Ladies, better to be single and child free than clinging on to one man because he's tall, dark, and handsome and has a bunch of kids, a bunch of women, a harem, and he is putting you in a unhealthy position. He's putting your body at risk by being disloyal sexually. He's putting your heart and your well-being at risk by abusing you emotionally by not committing. That's the only thing black men know how to do. And it's dangerous for a woman to you sisters be so afraid of white power and white people and white masculinity. You are not afraid of how much the black man genuinely in the core of his soul hates us. It boggles my mind. Black women are more bothered by Donald Trump being president than they are by how much black men hate you. Hate you. He's homosexual. He doesn't even want you. He doesn't want any responsibility to you. He marries you. He cheats on you. He sees your misery, your pain, your obesity. He doesn't care. He doesn't help. He doesn't keep himself single and child free. So when he does decide to settle down, he has everything to offer you. He has a bunch of babies and then wants you to put up with whatever he brings to the table because you're a desperate black woman and he's tall, dark, and handsome. I have years worth of videos warning black women and telling black women and telling the world how much black men hate us and how miserable it is to be it can be to be a black woman because you guys just don't understand what we have to put up with from our men. Black women get fibroids because we have to deal with black men. Deal with white men, you won't get fibroids. Think I'm lying? Try it. Talk to black women who deal with white men. See, do they have fibroids? Do it. You all know 5 black women right now who have fibroids that are all married to black men or have a baby by a black man, and they all got fibroids. Fibroids happens to black women because you're dealing with black men, the inferior man. So, I have a lot to say about Sprinkle Sprinkle, but this has gone on way too long and I haven't really gotten too many questions. If anyone has any questions, thank you all for listening and commenting. Um, Now, as Aziza, you said these are facts. I worked on that a lot growing up. If you're still watching, can you just elaborate on what you mean by that, what you worked on a lot growing up and what was the fact? It's good to have I want, that's why I encourage you all to comment, listen, learn, like, subscribe, but please comment your experiences, comment your truth and your perspective. And again, my inspiration is seeing real women, average women, happy, married. There is a movement of single and child free. I love it because I'm single and I'm child free and I've never wanted children. There's never been a day I woke up and said, gee, I want kids. I know women who, when we were young, when we were single digits, they were talking about being a mother and they genuinely wanted that. There was never a time I wanted to have kids, ever. So, I like the fact my brand heavily talks about elevating women, and the single child free movement helps me address the issues that I have with the marginalization of the black woman to being the big mama, which is the slave mammy syndrome in the black community. So the single child free movement is great because it's talking about women who are over the age of 30, sometimes over the age of 40, being single and child free. And how empowering it is to be a woman who rebelled against society and kept her money for herself, kept her beauty for herself, kept her lifestyle for herself, and did not get at a young age get married, get used up by a man, become a man's nanny, slave, and maid, and be enslaved to kids and all of that. And now she's had kids and everything, and she's lost in her own femininity, and she can't find her. Sorry about that. So I guess that's my cue to, but like I said, I want women to, I want, as Black High Priestess who addresses the spiritual topic and spiritual issues to things, I want to address Sprinkle Sprinkle from a spiritual perspective. This was more of a rant about it, but I want to talk about the Erzuli Freda energy, the Vodun ancestor behind it, the spiritual aspects behind it, the witchcraft element to it, a little bit more. But this was inspired by average women who do work. I don't know what their bills are, but by women who have jobs and who are making money and who are actively contributing to their marriage, to their household, to their children, not doing nothing, but just having the baby and spending all his money. I want you all to be inspired by real women, and to know that men marry real women. Real men love and marry real women, and they raise their children together. You don't have to, please do not let TikTok and everything you see on YouTube and please don't let these influencers you influence you into something that's not real. Stop letting influencers and the entertainment that they give have you out here out of touch with completely out of touch with reality. Ladies, you are not a princess. Do not get out here and require men to be a prince if you are not a princess. Do not get out here and bring nothing a princess brings more to the table than nothing. So do not require a man to automatically give you all of his money because you are a female that he claims he wants. If you need money because you can't work, don't think a man is a bank. Don't think a man is a career. Don't think a man is a job or a gig. Prostitutes don't need to listen to Shira 7. Strippers don't need to listen to Shira 7. Sex workers don't need to listen to Shira 7. Y'all out here listening to Shira 7 because y'all are genuinely estranged from femininity. You genuinely don't have femininity. And so you need to learn how feminine women think. But other than that, it's not going to work in the dating. You're going to push away men who want a real woman who is interesting, has a lot to offer, and is being herself, not playing someone else's game. Don't blame your new date, your potential date, on what other men did. What I want to say is, if you if there's no chemistry, or if the man is not behaving the way you want him to behave, leave. Be safe. Let someone know you're going on a date. But if you talk to men, get to know them a little bit better. But for the love of God, don't be out here pushing away a potential boyfriend or partner, or a potential long lasting relationship by trying to sprinkle your way into some man's bank account. Men don't have money. Most men don't have money to put you in a mansion so you can do nothing for the rest of your life. So don't expect that. All right. Please comment, and I'll talk about this more in the next load. Peace and love, everyone.